Saudi Arabia, what do you say?
Saudi Arabia, what do you say?
How many bombs did you drop today?
How many bombs did you drop today?
Saudi Arabia, what do you say?
Saudi Arabia, what do you say?
How many prisoners have you killed today?
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 Shame, shame on MBS.
Shame, shame on MBS.
Shame, shame on MBS.
Shame, shame on MBS.
Free, free our prisoners now.
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 Woo!
Woo!
Free expression, no oppression.
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 What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
Free, free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine!
Okay. No justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace!
No
No, man,
justice,
just find the
no
wild
peace.
one.
No justice, no peace!
No justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace!
No justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace!
Shame, shame on MBS.
Shame, shame on MBS!
Free, free our prisoners now.
Free, free our prisoners now!
Stop, stop the execution.
Stop, stop the execution!
Free, free our prisoners now.
Free, free our prisoners now!
Free, free our scholars now.
Free, free our scholars now!
When they commit injustices, what do we do?
Fight back!
What do we do?
Fight back!
When they commit human rights abuses, what do we do?
Fight back!
What do we do?
Fight back!
You guys have any other ones? Let me know.
Where the Saudi consulate resides. The Saudi consulate represents the Saudi Arabian government, the government that was responsible for the brutal murder of journalist Khashoggi at the Saudi embassy in Istanbul. Our president refuses to blame the Saudi government for that murder, even though our CIA and other interested entities all agree that MBS, the current leader of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, was responsible for that murder. Saudi Arabia is using U.S. weapons as we speak. They have been for the last 3 years to bomb Yemen. It's the greatest humanitarian crisis in the world. Millions of people face starvation. Thousands have already died from U.S.-made weapons sold to Saudi Arabia. We believe that those weapons should not be sold to Saudi Arabia and that the war should end. So we're here to protest Saudi repression of journalists, dissidents right now. All those ladies that protested or in support of women driving in Saudi Arabia. Many of those same women who helped to make that right become possible have been imprisoned. The government doesn't want any dissidents speaking, and the Saudi government has already beheaded many dissidents, including teenagers. And we're here to protest all of those things. So if you feel the same way we do, join us or read up on it and be knowledgeable about what our government is doing right now with your tax dollars. shame on MBS.
Shame on MBS.
What's the schedule as far as this meeting?
I'm just in the email.
Please do. So you said 2:15 is really wanted to start?
I know that Jody has some.
So just talking about U.S. involvement in arms sales to Saudi Arabia, those arms that are currently bombing Yemen, children, women, hospitals, those are your tax dollars that are paying for those murders. And many U.S. companies are profiting off of arms sales, billions of dollars of U.S. arms sales to Saudi Arabia, including Raytheon.
I can talk, you can talk.
Raytheon is one of the main weapons dealers to Saudi Arabia, as well as Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, all names you've probably heard before, and probably didn't know that they make weapons and they're selling them to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, like that time.
Yeah, you don't want dead time. So, let's just start. It's like that. It's right there. Your live streaming.
Yeah, okay.
Really?
So we're gonna go ahead and get started with the speeches. We'll have to think afterwards. So again, for those of you that don't know, those of you that are walking by, that are having lunch or breakfast, we want you to know that we're out here protesting in front of the Saudi consulate for the human rights abuses and their wrongful incarceration of the political prisoners, including journalists, activists, and scholars. I want to first start by thanking everybody for being here today, who recognizes that speaking up for justice transcends rhetoric, right? That it requires a physical mobilization of our limbs to come out, to mobilize, to congregate, right? That it requires a lifelong commitment to an epistemic calibration, right? That it requires that as we engage with the specific geopolitics of Saudi Arabia, as we are engaging with the specific situation right now with the political prisoners in Saudi Arabia and the human rights abuses and war crimes that they are complicit or directly perpetuating, that we recognize that this is situated within a larger global reality of incarceration as a systematic means of silencing dissent, right? Incarceration as a systematic means of repression. So even though we are small in numbers, we stand up nonetheless. Even though it may be unpopular or inconvenient, we persist. And so I thank you all for being out here today.
Yeah.
Now this begs the next question, which is, what are we doing here, right? Why are there a coalition of 10 plus organizations, of community centers, of different nonprofit organizations backing up this very important cause? Like I said, the political prisoners we demand that the political prisoners are released, and that we think that anybody that has a conscience, anybody that stands up or claims to stand up for justice should be out here in support as well. And so when we say political prisoners, this includes the likes of women's human rights activists, Lujaina al-Hatfoud. This includes the prominent critical scholars, Sheikh Salman Rawda, Awad al-Qarni, and Ayam Omari, as well as actually a public servant of civil society, Walid al-Fatahi, who's actually a U.S. citizen that was detained in Saudi Arabia as part of their larger purge, their corruption purge, as they increased the whip on draconian state measures against any form of dissent. So we appeal to the international community to end the silence. We appeal to the U.S. government to stop the hypocrisy, to stop prioritizing capitalism over the dignity and livelihoods of people, of political prisoners and their families. We appeal to people of conscientiousness to stand up, to speak out, and to make sure that we uphold the professed values of freedom of speech, which includes freedom of dissent of the different hegemonic regimes. So from our political prisoners in Gaza, our political prisoners in Saudi Arabia, to our prisoners in Gaza, to our prisoners here in the U.S., Guantanamo Bay, we make sure that we stand up and we speak out against the normalization of putting people in cages for challenging the state. So with that, we have Code Pink coming out that will share a few words.
Thank you. Thanks everybody for being here. We have someone who's been here for about 3 years now. We've been at vigil at this consulate for over 3 years. And we're really out here today. We've been out here because we know since 9/11 that Saudi Arabia has been getting away with murder, has been funding the terrorism that we see from 9/11 and the growth of it. We've been trying to bring attention to that.
They don't want to shut us
Saudi
down because
Arabia,
we're blocking the sidewalk.
percentage-wise, owns more weapons than any other country on the planet. And it's the United States government that has been allowing that to happen. But right now, in the last couple of weeks, we've been watching that a war with Iran is very near. It's breathing down our necks. Who is behind that? I'm just back from Iran, and pretty much everyone you meet in Iran understands that that's Saudi Arabia. That they are pushing for a war with Iran because they want to take over the Middle East. War with Iran, we thought war with Iraq was bad, and I just want to remind everyone that we were drawn to war with Iraq on lies, and that a million lives at least were lost, the destabilization of the Middle East, and $4 trillion. Iran is unthinkable. This is a war that can't happen, should not happen, and it's really being driven by very few, very stupid, with too much power people, and Saudi Arabia is part of that. The MEK, which is a terrorist organization, has